The police didn't call to warn me, they called to accuse me. My car had been sold in a fraudulent deal, my signature forged, and the person who did it? My own daughter. I wish I could tell you that was the worst part of the story, but it wasn't. The phone rang at 6:47 a.m., slicing through the quiet of my kitchen. My coffee was still too hot to drink. The news mumbled about politics I didn't care about, and the morning felt ordinary, until I answered. "Mr. Carter?" a man said. "Detective Luis Martinez, Riverdale Police. I'm calling about your 2019 Honda Civic, silver, plate number." "That's my car," I said. "It was sold yesterday. The buyer noticed an issue with the title in VN. We need to speak with you." I turned toward the driveway. Empty concrete, no Civic. My pulse kicked. There must be a mistake. My daughter sometimes borrows it, but she wouldn't. "The seller's name is Rebecca Carter," Martinez said, slower now, as if testing my reaction. The air thickened. Rebecca, my only child, my reason for pushing through the long gray years since Hannah died. "Detective, are you sure?" "Positive. We'll come to you. 10 minutes. I hung up. My eyes drifted to the hook where the spare keys should have been. Empty. The junk drawer where I kept my expired driver's license, also empty. A faint chill settled under my ribs. The doorbell rang exactly on time. Martinez had the calm eyes of a man who's seen too much. Beside him stood Officer Hayes, younger, clipboard ready. At my table, Hayes slid a manila folder toward me. "This is the bill of sale," he said. "Signature, Rebecca Carter. Seller ID, your driver's license." I stared at the photocopy. My younger face, my name, the address from years ago. "That license was in my drawer," I said. "I never—" My voice failed. "Where's the title kept?" Martinez asked. "In a fireproof box," I said, bringing it out. The lock clicked open, and I thumbed past insurance papers, birth certificates, until I reached the pocket where the title should be. Empty. "She took it," I whispered. "Did you give her permission to sell the car?" Hayes asked. "No." "Has she been under pressure? Owing money?" A memory hit. Last week, her phone lighting up at dinner. "You owe by Friday. No more delays." She flipped it face down, changed the subject. I'd let it slide, the way tired fathers sometimes do. "She's been secretive," I admitted. Martinez leaned in. "We'll need your cooperation. If she doesn't come forward, you could be seen as involved." That landed like a stone in my chest. "Where is she now?" "Not home," I said after checking upstairs. I called, straight to voicemail. I texted, "Call me, now. The police are here." 3 dots appeared. Then, "Stop being dramatic. I'll explain later." I showed Martinez. He stood. "If she reaches out, arrange to meet her in public. Let us know first." They left. I locked the door, leaning my forehead against the cool wood. My phone buzzed again. "Dad, don't do anything stupid. It's just a car." "Just a car?" My hand tightened around the phone. The Civic wasn't just steel and tires. It was trust, history, promises. And she'd sold it like a pawned necklace. Through the window, the driveway stared back at me, bare, silent, accusing. And then I saw something I hadn't noticed before, near the curb, a scrap of torn envelope caught in the grass, with handwriting I recognized instantly. Rebecca's. I stepped outside, the morning air damp and cold against my face. The scrap of envelope lay in the grass, fluttering faintly in the breeze. I bent down, my knees aching, and picked it up. The tear was jagged, like it had been ripped open in a hurry. My name was scrawled in Rebecca's handwriting, the same looping R she used when she was a teenager, signing birthday cards with hearts over the eyes. Inside, the paper was gone. Just the shell remained. Why would she leave this here? Why tear something and drop it where I could find it? I turned the piece over, looking for any clue, a return address, a smudge of ink. But there was nothing, just the faint smell of perfume. Hers. I slipped it into my pocket and went back inside, every step heavier than the last. I couldn't stop thinking about her last text. It's just a car. No, it was never just a car. The kettle on the stove was still warm. I poured water over the coffee grounds again, even though I didn't need another cup. My hands needed something to do while my mind worked over the possibilities. Debt, a boyfriend, something worse. At 9:12 a.m., my phone buzzed. Rebecca. "Dad," she said, her tone flat. "What's going on?" "You tell me," I replied. "The police were here. They say you sold my car." A pause. "I needed money." "Rebecca, that's theft and forgery. You used my driver's license." "You weren't using it," she snapped, her voice suddenly sharp. "It was just sitting there collecting dust. I figured you wouldn't care." "Wouldn't care?" My voice rose before I could stop it. "You forged my name. Do you understand what could happen to me?" Another pause, longer this time. "I'll fix it," she said, softer. "I'll get the money back." "How?" I asked. She didn't answer. "Rebecca," I pressed, "are you in trouble?" Silence. I heard traffic in the background. Then, "I have to go." The line went dead. I stood in the kitchen, phone still in my hand, and felt something shift inside me. This wasn't just carelessness. She was hiding something, and I had the sickening feeling it wasn't just from me. 2 hours later, Detective Martinez called. "Mr. Carter, we've confirmed the VIN was altered. The title is a counterfeit, good enough to fool someone not looking closely. We need to know if your daughter might be working with someone." I thought about her friends, the ones who never looked me in the eye when they came over. I thought about the scrap of envelope. "I don't know," I said, "but I intend to find out." Martinez's voice was steady. "If she's in over her head, the sooner we act, the better. Otherwise, she's looking at prison time." After the call, I went upstairs to her room. The air was stale, blinds half closed, clothes in piles, a half-empty water bottle on the desk, and in the corner, her old duffel bag. I unzipped it, expecting gym clothes. Instead, I found a small stack of cash wrapped in an elastic band, and under it, a folded piece of paper. A debt notice, amount due, $7,500. Due date, last Friday. In the margin, in red ink, no more extensions. I sat on her bed staring at the words. My daughter wasn't just reckless. She was desperate, and desperate people make dangerous choices. I placed the paper back exactly as I'd found it and zipped the bag shut. She couldn't know I'd been here. Not yet. Downstairs, I took the scrap of envelope from my pocket again. If she thought she could bury herself in lies, she hadn't learned one thing about me. I'm willing to dig until my hands bleed, and that's exactly what I planned to do. I didn't sleep much that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Rebecca's face, sometimes at 6 years old with jelly on her chin, sometimes yesterday morning, flat and unbothered on the phone while my world tilted. At 8 a.m., the knock on my door was sharp and deliberate. I opened it to find Detective Martinez and Officer Hayes again, their expressions tighter than before. "Mr. Carter," Martinez said, "we've got updates. Can we come in?" We sat at the same table as last time. Hayes opened the manila folder again, but this time there were more pages, photographs, receipts, a copy of the fake title. Martinez slid one photo toward me. My Civic parked in a gas station lot, time-stamped the day before it was sold. Rebecca was in the driver's seat. Beside her, a man I didn't recognize, mid-30s, buzz cut, wearing a leather jacket. "Do you know him?" Martinez asked. "No." "He's known to us," Hayes said. "Small-time operator, dabbles in stolen goods. Not violent, unless someone owes him." The words hit like a cold wave. I thought of the $7,500 debt notice, the red ink. No more extensions. Martinez leaned forward. "We believe your daughter might have been pressured into this, but we also have to consider the possibility she's acting willingly. If she's tied to this man, she could be part of something bigger." I kept my voice steady. "What happens if you find proof she's involved?" "Charges," Martinez said simply. "Forgery, fraud, conspiracy to commit theft. Each one carries time." My throat tightened. "And me? If we can prove you weren't aware, you're clear. But until then," he let the sentence hang. Hayes placed another photo in front of me. It was the forged bill of sale, my name scrawled in handwriting close enough to mine that I could almost believe I'd signed it. She practiced, I murmured, more to myself than to them. Sir? Hayes asked. She practiced my signature, I said louder. She used to copy it for school permission slips when she forgot to get mine. I thought it was harmless. I looked up at Martinez. I didn't know I was training her. Martinez's tone softened. Mr. Carter, if you hear from her, let us know immediately. We're not here to ruin her life, but right now, she's heading straight for it. After they left, I stood in the doorway, staring at their car as it pulled away. I wanted to call Rebecca, demand answers, but I knew she wouldn't pick up. She was avoiding me, and not by accident. Instead, I took the scrap of envelope from my pocket again. Something about it nagged at me. The way the edge was crumpled, like it had been shoved into a pocket and pulled out again. I turned it over and caught a faint impression on the paper, like writing pressed through from the missing sheet. Under the light, I could just make out the letters H-A-R. A name? A place? I didn't know yet, but I knew one thing. I wasn't going to sit here and wait for the police to tell me who my daughter had become. I didn't call her first. If I gave her time, she'd vanish deeper into whatever hole she was digging. I just drove. The Civic might be gone, but my old pickup was still mine, and it roared down Maple Avenue like it had somewhere important to be. The letters H-A-R kept replaying in my head, and then it hit me. Harper Street, a row of old duplexes near the industrial park. Rebecca had a friend there once, years ago before college. When I turned onto Harper, I spotted her instantly, leaning against a blue sedan, arms folded, phone in hand. She was mid-laugh, the kind that comes easy when you're not carrying the weight you've dumped on someone else. I parked, got out, and called her name. The smile dropped. Dad? What are you? We need to talk, now. She glanced at the guy next to her. Same buzz cut, same leather jacket from the photo the detectives had shown me. He didn't move, just sized me up like he was deciding whether I was a problem worth his time. 5 minutes, I said, stepping closer. No excuses. We walked a few feet away, her arms crossed tight. You shouldn't be here, she muttered. You sold my car, Rebecca. You forged my name. You think I'm just going to sit at home and wait for the police to knock again? She rolled her eyes, but it was forced. I told you, I needed the money. For him? I nodded toward leather jacket. His expression didn't change, but his jaw tightened. Her silence was an answer. I lowered my voice. Do you even know what he is? The police do. They have photos, records. You're standing next to a criminal, and you're pretending it's fine. She stepped back, shaking her head. You don't understand? No, I cut in. I understand perfectly. You're in debt, you're scared, and instead of coming to me, you're making deals that could put you in prison. Her eyes flashed. Prison? Really? That's dramatic even for you. I almost laughed at that. The absurdity of her thinking this was a game. Forgery, fraud, conspiracy, those are charges, Rebecca, and Martinez doesn't play around. Her head jerked. You talked to the police? They came to me, I said. And they will come for you, unless you stop now. For a moment, something in her face softened. Maybe fear, maybe guilt. But it was gone before I could name it. She glanced back at Leather Jacket, who gave her the smallest nod. I can fix it, she said. How? I just can. That's not an answer. She stepped past me toward the car. I have to go. I caught her arm, not hard, just enough to make her stop. Rebecca, if you walk away right now, I can't protect you when they come, and they will. She met my eyes for a second, and in that second, I saw the little girl who once gripped my hand crossing a street. Then she pulled free. Don't follow me, Dad. I watched the blue sedan pull away, my reflection shrinking in its tinted glass. The sound of its engine faded, but my pulse didn't. Because I'd just realized something. If she was this deep in, there was no way she was acting alone. And if I didn't find out who else was pulling the strings, the next time we met might be across a courtroom. When the blue sedan disappeared at the end of Harper Street, I didn't go home. Going home would mean sitting in my kitchen, staring at the empty driveway again, waiting for someone else to fix this. No, this time I would move first. I started with the pawn shop on Lincoln Avenue. The owner, a heavy-set man with a faded tattoo on his forearm, knew me from years back when I sold some tools after Hannah passed. He remembered my name, but more importantly, he remembered Rebecca. "She came in 2 weeks ago," he said, leaning on the counter. "Tried to pawn a gold chain, said it was a gift, but..." He shrugged. "Didn't look like hers. Told her I needed proof of ownership. She left in a hurry." "Was she alone?" I asked. "No, buzz-cut guy. Didn't like me asking questions." From there, I drove to the bank. I still had access to a joint account Rebecca had used in college, one we both forgot to close. I told the teller I needed a statement. As soon as the paper slid across the counter, I saw it. A $3,000 cash withdrawal last month, followed by multiple online payments to something called Golden Mile Casino. Not a real casino, the kind of offshore gambling site that takes your money faster than it loads a page. Debt notice, pawn attempt, illegal gambling. My daughter wasn't just making bad choices, she was burning bridges as fast as she could cross them. Back in the truck, I called Detective Martinez. "She's in deeper than I thought," I told him, giving the details. "You're building our case for us," he said, "but we'll need hard evidence, proof she committed the sale and the forgery willingly." "She's not going to hand that over." "No," Martinez agreed, "but maybe she'll hand it to you." That idea stayed with me the rest of the afternoon. If she trusted me enough to talk, even to argue, she might slip. And if she slipped, I'd have something solid to give the detectives. That night, I went into her room again. I knew it was wrong, but the time for niceties was over. In her desk drawer, under a mess of receipts and lip balm tubes, I found a burner phone. The call log was short, just 2 numbers. One was leather jacket, the other was listed as Maya. I dialed it from my own phone. A woman answered, her voice low and impatient. "You have the money or not?" "This isn't Rebecca," I said. Silence. Then the line went dead. I stared at the phone in my hand. Whoever Maya was, she wasn't just a friend. She was part of this, maybe the one holding the real leash. I copied the number, put everything back exactly as I found it, and closed the door. I had 2 choices: wait for the police to do their work, or step further into Rebecca's world and risk finding out just how ugly it really was. It wasn't even a choice. I called Detective Martinez the next morning. "I have a name," I said. "Maya." She called asking if I had the money. On the other end, there was a pause. "We know her," he said finally. "Maya Collins. She's connected to 2 other cases, both involving stolen property. She's smart, careful, and she doesn't get her own hands dirty. If your daughter's dealing with her, she's in serious trouble." I didn't need the warning. "So let's use it." Martinez's tone sharpened. "What are you thinking?" "She already took my car. She still knows I have the vintage motorcycle in the garage, the one I've been restoring since before she was born. If she's desperate, she'll see it as another payday." "You want to bait her?" "I want her caught," I said. "And I want you there when it happens." By afternoon, the plan was in motion. We moved the motorcycle to the front of the garage, covered but visible from the street. Martinez would have an undercover officer pose as a buyer, someone offering quick cash, no questions asked. All Rebecca had to do was take the bait. That evening I texted her, "We need to talk. I've been thinking about your situation. Come by tomorrow." The typing dots appeared, then vanished. A full minute passed before her reply, "Fine." The next day, the air felt thick, heavy. I left the garage door half open and the bike in plain sight. The undercover, Officer Grant, was parked 2 houses down in a beat-up truck pretending to check his phone. Martinez sat in an unmarked car at the corner. At 11:03 a.m., Rebecca's blue sedan rolled up. She got out, sunglasses on, hair tied back. Her eyes flicked to the motorcycle before they even met mine. "Nice to see you," I said, keeping my voice neutral. She smirked faintly. Since when do you leave this out? Since I thought maybe it could help you, I said, nodding toward it. It's worth a lot. Might solve some of your problems. Her brows lifted just for a second. You'd let me sell it? If it keeps you safe? For a moment she studied me, as if trying to decide whether it was a trap. Then she pulled out her phone. I know someone who can move it fast. I stepped aside, watching her walk to the driveway. She took photos, sent a few messages, and within 10 minutes, the buzz-cut man from Harper Street pulled up. They spoke in low voices. Then another car arrived, a dark sedan with tinted windows. Maya. Even from a distance, I recognized her presence. Mid-40s, precise movements, the kind of woman who doesn't waste words. She looked the bike over, nodded once, and reached into her bag. That was the cue. Officer Grant pulled into the driveway, playing the role of a buyer. Heard you've got something for sale, he said casually. Rebecca hesitated, then glanced at Maya. A nod. Papers came out, forged, like before, and Rebecca's hand moved toward the pen. That's when the street erupted. 2 unmarked cars boxed them in. Martinez stepped out, badge in hand. Rebecca Carter, you're under arrest for fraud, forgery, and possession of stolen property. Her face went pale, then red. Dad, what did you do? I didn't answer. I couldn't. I just stood there, heart pounding, as the cuffs clicked around her wrists. But even as they read her rights, my eyes went to Maya. Calm, almost smiling, as if she'd been through this dance before. And I knew this wasn't over. The sound of the handcuffs locking shut was sharper than I expected. Rebecca flinched at the cold metal around her wrists, twisting to look at me as if I could stop what was happening. Dad, say something, she shouted. Martinez's voice was steady, professional. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Her eyes darted wildly between me and the officers. Tell them this is a mistake, that I didn't. You did, I said quietly. The words stopped her mid-breath. For a second, I saw the realization flicker in her eyes, that I wasn't here to save her from the consequences this time. Martinez led her toward the unmarked car while Officer Hayes searched the blue sedan. He pulled out a black backpack from the passenger seat, unzipped it, and revealed neat stacks of cash wrapped in rubber bands, along with another forged title. Looks like she was ready for her next sale, Hayes muttered. Rebecca jerked against Martinez's hold. That's not mine. Rebecca, I said. I found the debt notice. I know about the gambling. I know about Maya. Her face went white, then flushed deep red. You went through my stuff? I didn't answer. There was nothing to say that wouldn't make it worse. Meanwhile, Maya stood a few feet away, hands folded neatly in front of her, almost amused. One of the undercover officers approached her. Ma'am, we need you to come with us. She tilted her head, smiling faintly. On what charge? For now, questioning. We'll see where it goes. I'm sure you will, she said, sliding into the back of another unmarked car with the grace of someone boarding a limousine. Watching her go, I felt an uneasy knot in my chest. She wasn't worried, not at all. That meant one of two things. She was innocent, or she was confident they'd never pin anything on her. As the cars pulled away, Martinez lingered. You did the right thing, he said. It's better we caught her now than after she got in deeper. Better? I asked. She's in handcuffs. She's alive, he said simply. With the people she was dealing with, that wasn't guaranteed. The street fell quiet again. Neighbors peeked through curtains. Somewhere down the block, a dog barked. I stood there in the driveway, staring at the empty space where the motorcycle had been, the same way I'd stared at the empty space where my Civic used to be. Martinez touched my shoulder. We'll be in touch about court dates. If she makes bail, I suggest you keep your distance until the trial. I nodded, but my mind wasn't on court dates. It was on the look Rebecca gave me when she realized I'd let the police take her. It was a look that could burn through bone. That night, alone in the house, I walked past her room. The door was slightly open, and the stillness inside was heavier than silence. On her desk, I noticed something I hadn't seen before. A torn notebook page with a single line scrawled across it. "You think this ends with me?" The note stayed on her desk for weeks. I didn't throw it away. I didn't even move it. It was a reminder of the choices she'd made, of the people she'd tied herself to, of how far I'd been willing to go to stop her. The trial came faster than I expected. Martinez was right. Maya slipped through their fingers. Not enough evidence, the prosecutor told me, frustration clear in her voice. But Rebecca had left a trail you could follow blindfolded. The courtroom smelled of polished wood and stale coffee. I sat 2 rows back, close enough to see the way she avoided my eyes. Her hair was pulled back neatly, and she wore a blazer that didn't fit quite right, probably borrowed from a public defender's closet. The prosecutor laid it all out: forged documents, altered VIN numbers, recorded phone calls, and the cash found in her car. The jury didn't even glance at me. My role in this was clear. I wasn't the criminal this time. When the verdict came, it was almost anticlimactic, guilty on all counts. The judge's voice was calm as he handed down the sentence. 3 years in state prison, restitution of $8,400 to the buyer of my Civic, and mandatory financial counseling upon release. Rebecca's lips tightened, but she didn't cry. Not this time. Maybe she'd run out of tears. Maybe she was saving them for later. Outside, reporters gathered like crows. I kept my head down, walking past their microphones. One of them shouted, "Do you feel justice was served?" I didn't answer, not to them. At home, the house felt colder. I made coffee the same way I had the morning Martinez first called. Only now the driveway was empty for a different reason. No Civic, no motorcycle, no Rebecca. People told me I'd done the right thing, that I'd saved her from worse, that maybe prison would straighten her out. I wanted to believe them. But the truth was simpler. I'd drawn a line, and she'd crossed it. There had to be a consequence. A week later, a letter arrived from the prison. I stared at it for hours before opening it. Inside, Rebecca's handwriting filled a single page. "Dad, you think you know everything. You don't. One day you'll understand why I did what I did. Until then, take care of yourself. Rebecca." No apology, no regret. Just words that raised more questions than they answered. I folded the letter and placed it next to the scrap of envelope I'd kept in my desk drawer. Together, they told a story only I would ever read in full. One about trust broken, about choices made, and about the cost of standing firm. I lost my car, I lost my daughter, but I kept my integrity, and that no one can steal. If this story moved you in any way, don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment below, I read every single one, and subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Your support helps us keep sharing voices that deserve to be heard.